What is going on, guys? Top Gingy here, finally back for another video. Got some big updates here. As you can see on the screen, I have a gentleman that I want to announce. So, as I said, I was doing a giveaway. At first, I was originally doing the giveaway, and this gentleman was the winner, and I thought that he wasn't subscribed to the channel, and then there was some confusion, and then he proved to me, and he was the one that I had chosen to win originally before I had posted the most recent video. I know there's a lot of people that had commented and stuff, so, but no matter what, I told you I was going to do a winner, and I did. I did the 6 packs, and he chose to do Duskmorn. Um, and so this guy's name's Isaac. So Isaac, I appreciate you. If you see this video, I appreciate you following and subscribe. And I just want to show my appreciation to my followers. I'm going to be doing this every so often. The next one will either be at 250 subscribers or 500 subscribers. I haven't decided yet. Depends on how fast the growth is. So if you guys find people that want to help me out and grow, if it goes pretty quick, I'll do another one at another 250. I'll do another giveaway, and I'll do the same thing. And I mean, like I said, as the channel grows and gets bigger and bigger, if I can, start monetizing my YouTube channel, I will increase the giveaways. I will be doing bigger and better things, some really cool stuff. I love doing that, so I love doing to my people that support my channel and want to see my content, so I'm going to keep doing it. But yeah, shout out to Isaac here. So we got him 6 packs of Duskmorn. He opened them up, some of the big pools. I mean, there was some good stuff in there, but we had the Gloom Lake Verge. The other Verge, I forget the red and black one. We got the vampire that when it dies, it comes back with 2 stun counters, and then it takes half your life. It's like a 2/3 death toucher. Forget the name of it. Leyline of Resonance, which is a good card. Nowhere to Run and Pierce the Veil. Pretty playable cards right now that are good in the meta that we're seeing. So just a couple of things. Great individual. If you are a local individual to me in the area of Knoxville, this is one of the game stores I go to, which is Paragon Gaming. He happened to be one of the workers that worked at the store that followed the channel from when I was there. So again, just shout out to him, Isaac. Great individual, great guy, but he definitely deserved it. But yeah, guys, a lot of support there. But yeah, again, for the gaming stores in the area, if you're in Knoxville, Paragon Gaming is this one, and the other one I go and play at is CM Games. I mean, they're really big. They're already pretty much 2 stores in the Knoxville area. They have one in Morristown in Kentucky. So, I mean, I could say I'm shouting them out, but they already have enough support. I mean, if you've ever seen them, they're one of the stores that show up at a lot of the SCG events as one of the stores, that you can trade with and everything. So, no really need to help them out anymore. They're already doing great, but another store in the area if you want to check it out. They got a good variety of cards, but I like the vibes and the feels over at Paragon. Seems more local and fun. So but yeah, next big news, I won my invitational. So I just did my RCQ for standard. As you know, it's standard season. I know it just ended, but I just got it within the last 2 weeks. I played Domain, which is what you saw, me playing a couple of games, just getting practice for it. Went undefeated, and when I say undefeated, I got a draw. So I was 3-0-1 going into the last round. We only did 5 rounds, and we did cut to top 4 because there's only like 10 people that showed up to the RCQ for the RCQ invite or qualifier, actually regional qualifier. Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, we had 10 people showed up. I, drew with my opponent in the last round because we were both going to make it, and then we ended up playing each other in the last round. And the game was going my way. I won game 1, and then game 2 it was going my way throughout the match. And he just conceded to me, and then I ended up getting it. It was a 2-person invite, so the other player that made it was another Domain player. It was the guy that I drew with originally in the first 5 rounds before we went to top 4, and then me and him were the last 2, and we didn't want to play this grind. I mean, we both were getting an invite, and there was no prize support because it was only a $10 entry, so they were just doing the invites with no prize support other than the promos, of course. So we just rolled to see who got the foil promo because we didn't want to do a long, dragged out match of doing of domain versus domain. I think I was probably a little bit favored just because of the I had some spicy tech against him. That felt really good. I had a good odd. I just, we ran out of time to be able to finish it, but I think I was definitely favored in the matchup for the mirror. Um, Other than that, that's the next big news. So I'll be heading to probably Minneapolis for the invite. Just it's a hub. It's easy to get into for me to fly into. So I'll probably be going there to compete. So if anyone's following the channel that sees me and knows me and wants to say hey, I would definitely love to meet and chat and talk with you and get your inputs or advice or even if you have some criticism, things I can do better or whatever. But yeah, I'll be heading there and be excited to compete for standard and maybe with this the ban list coming up, we're gonna probably see a lot of changes. We don't know. Maybe that might not ban anything, but it's definitely if they ban some stuff, it's gonna be a whole new change of meta coming around that time frame. But speaking of the ban list, that is the last topic for this. So had the shout out for my winner. Isaac Potter again, shout out to you, man. The got the regional qualifiers done and ban list stuff. So these are my predictions. Okay, so don't hold me to it. These are just my predictions. I think would make the meta based on my experience and what I've played against would make the meta better. And I know you might be playing these decks and you might like these cards, but this is just my personal opinion on what I've played against. It wasn't fun and would like to see new decks with how many cards there are, right? I mean, like this is multiple years, right? There's not this rotating format as much as there is, which is I'm starting to kind of like it, having all this pool, but I just hate that there's only like 3 decks that are like performing, and I want to see something new. I want to see some new creative stuff that can kind of come in and sweep out the meta. So I know we do lose some stuff. There is a rotation coming in August, but as of currently with the meta, would like to see some change. Want to do some brewing before my regional. These are the cards, so we're gonna get into it. So first card is Hopeless Nightmare. So I think this is a card that needs to be hit, and I know that you're gonna be like, oh, this one over some other cards. The main reason I see this one is because I think Pixies is a good deck. But this is the key piece to the card or to the deck that allows it to be so suppressive. Because not only do you get to lose life, you get all the value, right? But it makes your opponent lose life and discard a card, which is like, the tempo style of the deck when you have these little 1/2/2s and, 3/3s and stuff like that. And you have Kaido. So, like, you just kind of get the tip in at them while also hitting their hand, which is the biggest advantage to that deck. I know a lot of people have said like, I'm hitting like the main decks here, but this one for the bounce the bounce deck is the big one. I don't think up or this town ain't big enough is really it, because I think that's the value engine in the deck, because there's not really a huge draw engine in the Pixies deck. So like I know some of them play like the 3-drop that says whenever enchantments come in, and I think that could be replaced with this card as their like engine to get back into the game. But this is what gets them ahead so quick, so fast, which makes the deck so consistent and really irritating. And like I just don't want to see a meta where we're all playing 4 copies of Austin and Bailoff in the sideboard. With them. So that's just my personal opinion. I think this is probably the best card, so they can keep a lot of pieces. They can still do this town big enough with the Storm Chasers talent. They still have the legendary spell that does this, which is still good. But the reason why I'm okay with that is because it's legendary, right? So they can't have 2 out to bounce back into their hand to be able to recast 2 again, like in the mid game to like empty your hand out again after you've gotten some kind of incremental value. So that card is also not as good because it doesn't make you lose 2 life, which is extremely relevant, and it might force them to play some legendary spells because there is the effect that you can lose life and mill a card, I think, if you play legendary. So there might be a little bit more brewing going on and changing it up just a little bit. And I think this is the strongest card. Plus, it gives them, like, this card just does everything that the deck wants. And I think if you get rid of this card specifically, it gives it a lot weaker starts and to the, from the start to the mid game for them. So it would slow it down, and it would still make it enough of a deck to still matter without, just stripping the deck away. So that's my take on that one for my first card. Next one is Monstrous Rage. I just think with Ley Line of Residence and just the mice, like there's already so much good value and good cards that are in there that you can play, and giving this card does everything the deck does, and this allows majority of the time for red. To me, it allows red to win consistently, not consistently, but has the get deterministically winning on turn 3, which I don't think is good for standard. I like that there's a red deck, but like I like more of a I would say mid-range red deck that has the potential to win. Like I like Gruul, right? Like I like the fact that Gruul has the ability to like still give trample, still double its spells, do powerful things, still draws cards and do good things without having this overwhelming win because they already have the mouse that gives it double strike. And that alone, like that 2 card combination between the 1-drop mouse into the 2-drop mouse is already so powerful, and then you're going to add this on top of it, which permanently gives the creature trample. Like that's the problem that I have. Like it pumps and permanently gives a trample at instant speed is something I'm not a fan of, and I know like other people have said, like pro player Brian Kibler says it takes out the ability for like blocking and other things, and I somewhat agree. Like I somewhat agree that there's not much of a game of Magic when you're just watching and then you just win on turns 3 or 4. Like it's still somewhat fun games of Magic, and it's more enjoyable to watch. You don't want to watch a domain on domain mirror. So like this is personally a card I think that should be banned. I mean, I think this is a modern playable card. I don't know why people aren't playing it, like the prowess decks, or like I said, prowess decks, or like the mono red prowess decks, or anything like with Leyline of Residence. I don't know. I think it's very powerful and has a lot of upside to it, but we'll see. I think it's worth playing there, but I think it needs to come out of standard just so we can change the meta up. Red decks are just very powerful. It could stay out of all of them. This is the one I think could stay out of all of them. If we had some more consistent removal or exile removal for the early game for them, for like the mice and stuff like that. So, we'll see. I don't know for sure. This deck hasn't always been consistent, but Gruul I think has been consistent, and I don't think they need Monstrous Rage to do it. Screaming Nemesis allows them to go into the mid range pretty easily. But yeah, that's my second pick, and then my last one. So this is my last one out of bans. I think there could be a couple other cards that could be hit. I didn't really put on the list here, but like this is probably the last card, and it sucks because this is my favorite card, and I play with this card, and we talked about Domain, right? So even though I play Domain, I think the card needs to be banned is Up the Beanstalk. And the main reason being is because you have decks like Pixies and other decks. So if you hit Hopeless Nightmare and other things, this is how you gain your incremental value back without sacrificing, some of your tempo. So by resolving this on turn 2 and then following up with, an Up the Beanstalk, or following it up with an Overlord or anything else, it just gives you so much incremental value, and that's why Domain has been so consistent, is because you get to not have to think about your resources in which you are divulging onto the table or the board, because you have Up the Beanstalk, which keeps drawing you cards, and then when you get 2, it's just insane. You never lose any value, and it's a card that you like when you play against it. You have to so heavily play against this card, and like they've already gained their value off of it, and it can be very frustrating. And I think the deck is still good as long as you get rid of those other 2 cards. I think the deck, like Domain, is still good without having Up the Beanstalk. It still has a lot of advantage and value in the deck. So, I mean, Stock Up is a card, so like if you replace this with Stock Up, I think the deck will be perfectly fine. But it just makes it a little bit harder. It allows aggro to still be good and Pixies to still be good because it slows the deck down just a little bit, along with getting rid of Hopeless Nightmare and Monstrous Rage. So I don't want it to go. I love Up the Beanstalk. I love playing it in Modern when it was around, and just going nuts, cascading into this and then casting all your free spells. Like it was sweet, but yeah, I think it's something that needs to go so we can see some changes in standard. I would like to see that. I mean, we might see that with Dragonstorm, but as I've seen currently from all the cards that have been spoiled and released, there's nothing to me that just seems extremely overwhelming or extremely powerful. And at some point, I am going to make a video on my thoughts about Dragonstorm and cards that I think have potential to build around, both standard, modern, and maybe any legacy. I know Pioneer hasn't really been big, so I'm not really going to go into that. So, um, but as of for this year, modern and standard are going to be big, so I'm going to focus on that a lot. And there's a legacy league coming up, so you might see me posting some legacy content, trying out some stuff. But I think this card needs to go so control can kind of like come in and shine a little bit. We already have Cavernous Souls, so like a lot of decks just get the hedge against that with having Cavern Souls in the deck. So, but yeah, that would be my last card to ban. Other possible shoutouts, I mean, Stock Up could be a potential one to eventually get there, but I don't think it's powerful. I mean, it's being played in Legacy, so it's good, but it definitely is a very powerful control card where you just get to play a bunch of these removal. It builds into the blue-white decks that are just like super slow, and it allows them to like, removal, board wipe, stock up, get your removal and land or whatever you need, and then go to the next turn, removal or board wipe, and you just like keeps doing this, and you get to play little draw spells, and it's just like, I don't know, I played against blue white and it just felt really dragged out, and giving them a way to like replenish their resources, it's just like these really drawn out games, and it's just like it's not fun Magic, but we do need those decks out there. So those are cards that I looked at. Hopeless Nightmare, there was this town ain't big enough, and I did a lot of thought, and I think the deck still deserves that card in there to make it good as a value engine, but without allowing it to increase its tempo. So it still gives it powerful plays with the Storm Chasers talents. So I think it's definitely in the pure view, but I think Hopeless Nightmare is just the real problem. I think it's the card that allows them to gain tempo advantage out of losing 2 life while also taking a card out of your hand. So I think that's the biggest problem. Making a bunch of 1/1s can be dealt with, but just literally just taking cards out of your hand and losing life is huge. Especially on the percentages that you draw them, you have 4 of them. If you have 1, they have the ability to play it like 3 or 4 times. So it has the ability to do like anywhere from 4 to 10 damage in a game just off of an enchantment that you kept casting, and it makes you discard a card. So, I just don't want to see like everyone playing 4 Obstinate Baloffs in their sideboard just for that matchup. But yeah, it was this town ain't big enough, and a lot of these like 5-drop clunky cards can kind of come out, and we can see some really efficient decks, more mid-range control while still keeping aggro. I mean, there's plenty of aggro, like Convoke is still around. There's the Oculus deck that's still around, and I just think it would open up the meta 10 times more by at least starting off with these cards. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the right choice, but based on my experience and what I've played against and the cards that I haven't had fun playing against, like these are the cards that like whenever they come down, if you don't have the right answer at the right time, like they just take over the game and it's not fun. Like they keep the odds of you winning to very slim chances with the value that you gain off of them. So it's not worth it to me to keep in the meta for the long term. But again, we'll see. Possible unbans that I could see, nothing for standard, of course, but an unban for modern would be Birthing Pod. I don't think the card is strong enough. I don't think. Oh, I guess we didn't even talk about I should have talked about modern. I mean, we all agree that Underworld Breach should probably be banned. A lot of streamers and people agree with that as well, I believe. So I think Underworld Breach should just be banned because there's tons of good decks out there, and again, just not having to worry about that deck, and Underworld Breach is just a card that's going to constantly get busted. And I'd like to see Mox Opal try to be good in something else and see if it's just that powerful. But I think it's definitely Underworld Breach is the big one. But I think that should be banned. I don't know about anything else being banned currently that feels too powerful to me. But unbans, I'd like to see the birthing pod just because I was a birthing pod player. I built the deck and then they banned it, and that was really frustrating. I was an evil twin player as well, and then they banned it right afterwards, and that was frustrating. But I mean, I don't think twin's good, so that was probably an easy hit. But I'd like to see Birthing Pod just to see where that is. I mean, I think we have tons of cards that hate it out now. I mean, Karn, Collector Oof, which is already being played, and some other stuff. So I think those are my quick and easy, like bans, unbans, things that seem pretty good. I know a lot of you are going to disagree. Leave your comments. That's fine. You don't have to be aggressive or mad or angry or anything with my decisions or what I've decided, but these are just my thoughts and things that I think of. Um, and things that I think have potential to change, that can make the metas better. So of course, one big one, I know I had an argument with someone about the One Ring, and I'm not gonna lie, ever since the One Ring was banned, I think Modern has been the best it's ever been in a while, and I really love playing Modern right now, and I feel like there's so much more decks. I did love playing the card. I think the card was a lot of fun to play with, but I agree that it needed to go. So I'm really glad that the ring got banned and we can kind of see some new stuff coming out. My only fear with Modern right now is that it's kind of becoming like Legacy 2.0, and Legacy is becoming Vintage. But I mean, it makes sense because it's hard to reprint Vintage cards, right? Or even Legacy cards. So they kind of want to push Legacy out of the scene because they can keep reprinting cards that can sell and make money. It's smart on Magic's part for doing that, but it's not something I want to see because Modern's just getting lower and lower to the curve, and we're seeing less 4 drops and 5 drops. It's 1, 2s, and 3s, as the most powerful cards currently. So, but yeah, guys, this is Top Genji. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you guys would like to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I always appreciate your guys' input. I know I got some spicy picks here for my list, but I'd love to hear from you guys. But this is Top Genji, and I'm out. Peace.